Welcome, everybody.
Hey,
Hey, it's Tuesday again, Doug. Gee,
it's good to see you guys, and we got Jay with us today. That's
I
amazing.
know. That's awesome.
Hey, I'm Doug Smith. I'm reporting from broadcasting from the shores of the Ottawa River in Ottawa, and I got Laurie Davis, my co-host, with me. Where are you coming from, Laurie? Drayton Valley or something?
Fiery Alberta.
Oh yeah. And then
Hey,
Jay
the
Stone, where are
fires.
you coming in? What parking lot you coming in from, Jay?
I'm in Burlington, Ontario. I'm just about to go see my music guy for a meeting, so that's why I'm in my car. We have a big meeting regarding our 3-day extravaganza focused on music. So I'm kind of excited, but I'm really excited to be on the show today as a guest. So thank you for the opportunity.
Well, thanks for coming, and maybe you could share with us your role and the role it plays in performance for other people, as you help people with disabilities.
Thank you. Yeah. So for I guess Doug and Laurie's viewers, who I know that you guys have been doing your Tuesday show for a little while, and I don't think I've been on for a while, so people might not know who I am. So again, I'm Jay Stoyan, the founder of the Disability Channel. I'm also the garbage collector, so I take out the garbage too. So I kind of do. You got to do it all these days. So yeah, so we created the Disability Channel back in 2014, buying for a person with disabilities. And over the last couple of years, the Veteran Affairs came a calling. And so now it's buying for a person with disabilities and veterans, showcasing abilities in media through our government funded and partnership employment programs in media. So what we do is we focus on getting persons with disabilities off assistance, get them a new skill in media, either in front of the camera or behind, and get them a job part-time or full-time. And now we do the same things with the veterans, helping them transition from the battlefield to the classroom and get them a job in media, either on our channel or through our great affiliates like SiriusXM or Toronto Star or Long McQuaid or Bell, Cogeco, Invictus Games, Super Bowl. List goes on and on. So we have a great team. Momentum's very high right now as we have some great things in a hopper. Right now, we're planning a TDC media concert tour leading out to the Invictus Games in 2025. We're also going to be on Media Row at the Super Bowl for the 9th year in a row. This year it's down in Louisiana, and I believe we have a performance stage this year attached to our platform. So I think we're going to be showcasing some veterans and some musicians and both, right? And then we're going to go right out to the Invictus Games, as we just confirmed a location out there in Vancouver, White Rock, in a White Rock area. So we're going to be having a venue out there, attaching it to the Invictus Games. So lots of exciting stuff going on. It's all about creating opportunities for the most vulnerable and our heroes. So we have a great team, including you two. So yeah, that's kind of the overview, I guess.
You're teaching, right? And that's the important thing. You're taking somebody from their current reality and you're allowing them to achieve their desired future, right? I mean, that's the bridge you're providing. And tell us more about how the program works and what you teach and what type of person you teach. Could you share a little bit of that?
Yeah, thank you. So I like that. So what we offer is we offer tangible skills. So our programs run employment programs in media. So you'll learn all facets, and it runs 3 days a week. And actually, we have our new program, which I believe is our biggest class as of yet. I think there are maybe up to 15 to 20 students. So, and they're a mixture of persons with disabilities and veterans. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of each week, we have courses running from 10 to 2, and they are free according to if you qualify, right? So if you're a person with disability, you go through your organization and you qualify. If you're a veteran, you go through the VA, and we have liaison officers to help you sift through all the details, right? So if you qualify, our program starts July 30th, so start today actually. 10 to 2, it's either online or in person, right? So you could be online in Ottawa or you could be in person in Toronto, and you go through the process of learning a new skill in media to the point where our graduates are comfortable and confident enough to go into an interview room with the boss across the table who says, okay, I need you to edit this. I need you to shoot this. I need to see how you do your social media. And they do it, and they get a job because our programs are hands-on. We don't tell you how to do things, you do it, right? And then you do it again, and then you do it again, and then again until you are a professional. And then we send you out there, or we hire you on our platform. But the disability channel, we can't hire everybody, right?
Well,
So
you've got people though that you've brought on board that are doing the NFL, that are on the sidelines at the NFL, so that you know.
I have so many success stories, guys. I have so many success stories. Like I have like Lewis. Lewis is a graduate from our program. He's my top editor. He's been with me for, I think, 7 years. We've had other people that have been with us for 5 years. But our whole sort of mantra is to open up the world to people who have never been maybe opened up to them before, right? So especially a person with disabilities, right? There's a lot of people that come through our door and their parents say, you know what? They've never had this opportunity in their whole life, and they've been attached to the disability organizations their whole life, and they're 20, and they've never really been challenged. They never given an opportunity. Like, this is real. This is real stuff, right? So they love it. So they come in, and we teach them, and we keep on teaching them, and you can make mistakes. Like, our platform is all about being comfortable, being sensitive to other people, because everybody on our platform is disabled in one form or fashion. Myself, I have an internal illness, right? But so we're there, and I highly recommend for any corporation out there to hire a person with disability or a veteran. It'll change your office, right? When you think you're having a bad day, well, look across the table and look at somebody who's missing an arm, or a veteran who has been through hell and back. You change your perspective pretty quick. So it's a great thing. It's a great thing what we're doing. We got lots of support, like I said, through the NFL, through the NHL, Major League Baseball. We have full accreditations at all media events, entertainment or sports or whatever. We can go anywhere.
And there's no downside, right? Because you're working with a not-for-profit, Veterans House. So for the company that wants to join what you're doing, like, it's a full opportunity for them with tax receipts and everything, right? Like, if you're working with Veterans House.
100%. Let me tell you a little bit about the Veteran House. So Veteran House is run, and you know that, obviously, Doug, but so the Veteran House is run by two veterans, Stavro and Steph, and it's a good thing about them. So anybody who wants to help the channel, we direct you to the Veteran House to cut the check. They give you a receipt, and it's an open book. So you know exactly where your dollars are going, and your dollars are not going to administration. No administration dollars, right? And it's not going to the parking lot either, if you know what I mean.
And it's audited, because at Veterans House, it's delegated to go to certain particular areas. So that's right. Has to show up at the end, right?
Yeah. So it's not going towards a new Tesla, right?
Yeah.
And it's not going towards the administrator's bank account.
Yeah, it's going right into the classroom.
That's right,
and that's where it needs to be. So so tell me a little bit. You are educating veterans, I heard, for the Invictus Games. People that are veterans and are associated with veterans who want to participate. Is that true?
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're mixing in persons with disabilities and veterans through our program, because they are a mixture. The program is a mixture, right? It's for veterans and it's for persons with disabilities. So we blend the two, but sometimes it's called persons with disabilities and sometimes it's called veterans. But we blend the two, right? And then what we plan on doing is, the plan is to take 4 teams, two media teams of able-bodied people who are disabled. But they got to be able-bodied, right? Because you're going to be mobile. You're going to be out in Vancouver, and you're going to be going to this venue, that venue. So for 8 days, we're hopefully going to be taking 2 media teams out there of 4, and then 2 captains, which would be myself and probably Frank or somebody else we're going to delegate. And then we're going to have 2 media teams back in Toronto, especially their editing teams, right? Because we're going to be shooting on the fly. And then we're going to be sending the footage back to our suites in Toronto or in Vancouver, right? We have editing suites there, and then it goes right on to CBC or whoever the broadcaster is, right? And then we just got accepted into the United States. So we had a big meeting yesterday with 4 representatives of Illinois, all like politicians. And we've been meeting them for the last 2 years. And yesterday, well, they already signed off on it, but they officially signed off on it yesterday. So basically now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking our employment programs down to Illinois like we are here in Canada. And we're going to hopefully get our programs in every state. Slow process. And then we want to take teams, U.S. teams, to the Invictus Games. But we might not be able to make it this year. We might do it in 2 years because I believe the Invictus Games are down in the U.S. in 2 years. So we're going to have Canada teams and U.S. teams, media teams.
This is a solid 5-year program you got going. I mean, everything's set up, the structure's set up, everything's set up. It's a safe place. It's a valuable place to invest. You know, if people are looking at, you know, giving back and helping people with disabilities, or if they have somebody in their family who wants to get an education in media, what a place to go. This is unbelievable work you're doing.
Yeah, I think, like it's tenfold positivity. Like it's helping, you know, the most vulnerable community, disability, persons with disabilities, and then veterans, our heroes, right? So we owe our veterans all we can give them, right? Stefan and Stavro and all that, the platform, right? And then to corporations, because we're attached to the nonprofit, like you said, tax receipt. So everybody has to, you know, do a tax receipt. Everybody wants to help the community. But then we're worldwide media. Like I'm a full-fledged media company with accreditations to the Super Bowl and the Invictus Games and everything else that you want to call. Like Major League Baseball, we've been to the playoffs of every Major League sport. We've been to the Masters. So if you're looking for your logo to get branded at major league events, right? Or we also do this, right? So let's say Mr. Billionaire out there who has an 18-year-old son or daughter who's sort of floundering right now. And they don't know, the kid doesn't know what they want to do, but whatever they want to do, they know they're going to have an easy life because their mom or dad is a billionaire, right? But still, you got to do something in life.
Yes.
Absolutely. Bring them my way. Bring that 18-year-old trouble kid my way, and I'll turn on the lights and cameras, and it'll change his life, Mr. Billionaire dad or mom. And then you can write me a check, right?
Yeah, a 1-week media treatment program.
That's right, right?
And then fun, like immerse them in the fun stuff. You'll turn anybody around, I bet.
The parent would write me a check for whatever I want just to get them out of their hair. Really? You're going to take my kid and get my kid out of my hair? Here, what do you want? I'm telling you. I mean, I was a kid once. I know what it's like. I know, you know, my mom and dad would go, are you kidding me? There's an opportunity here. Take them. Take them. So, yeah, so there's lots of great stuff going on.
Your life, too, is like a movie. And I know that there's a lot of interest because you're from the music industry and crossover into the movie and show industry. So yeah, I mean, please share whatever you can about your life story, because you know, I envision your life story hitting the big screen.
I'll give a quick overview. So again, I was born with an illness called Mediterranean familial fever, right? Familial Mediterranean fever, right? Which is like a fever on steroids. So got great family, great support. I had a jewelry corporation on Bay Street in Toronto for 25 years. I ran it. At the same time, I ran a little bit of a crew on the streets in Scarborough. I have a book called Flanagan's Life Inside an Irish Street Gang, which I did not publish. It's published on my life, which is now going to film, which works with the Disability Channel, because when it goes to film, I can employ all of our graduates that learn production. Wow. So it's just really, it's kind of crazy how this happened, because I wrote the novel got published 20 years ago, and the Disability Channel wasn't even a thought. Like, you know, I wasn't even around. So it's just funny how I shot my book for 10 years. I put it down. I wrote a song. The song got accolades from the Invictus people, turned into the channel. It's all coming together. It's kind of crazy, but the only reason it's coming together is because I've tried every door in the world. And I've been kicked out of every room in the world until I found that one room and that one door that let me in and loved what I was selling. So I'd recommend for people out there, try if you're passionate about something and you believe in something and nobody else does but you, go for it, and don't let anybody try and change your mind. Like, go for it until you decide you've had enough. Right? If I listen to other people,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have wrote a book,
No.
right? I wouldn't have wrote a book. Well, put it this way, I probably wouldn't even be running our family business because I have a severe illness where everybody says, well, Jay, like, are you going to be able to do that? Yeah. Right. So I did that. I wrote a book where everybody looked at me and said, you don't have any entertainment experience. And I said, so I don't care.
So you
wrote a book.
You ignored them and pulled energy from some other place.
But it wasn't like, and it wasn't like, I'll show you. I don't have that in me. It's just like, well, you don't know me. I guess you don't know. You don't really know me. You don't know me.
Yeah.
Right? Cool. So wrote the book and then started the channel in 2014 just because I needed because I was on Fox, right? That's people don't know. I had a late night show on Fox, right? I was on Fox for some time with a variety show like Johnny Carson, interviewing all the big celebrities. My first guest was Frank Sinatra Jr. and it was great. But after a while, I just got a little bit bored of hearing frivolous stories, like entertainment stories. So I decided to bring out my illness, which nobody knew about because I would not showcase it. It wouldn't do me well back in the day. So I didn't. And in 2014, so I created the channel. And so, yeah, it's just kind of crazy, but only because I didn't take no for an answer. Right.
Yeah, and helping other people. You made a shift to helping other people, right? A really clear shift to helping people with disabilities. That changes your personality. It gives you life. That's when you
and that percolated like that again. That was not my vision. Like I did not sit down and go, you know what? Because I have an illness and I'm part of that community, I'm gonna be a beacon and help the rest of the people. I didn't think about that. I thought, hey, I have an illness. I don't have my corporation anymore. I'm only in my early 30s, so I got to kind of work. But I know if I go and apply at a job, I'll get fired because I get fired because I get sick, and they can't keep you on the salary for 6 days, and then you get sick again, and then you get sick again. So I said I got to do something, and that's when I said, okay, I love hosting television shows. I love it, but I need substance. I need something attached to it. And then I said, boom, I'm going to introduce the world to the Disability Channel. And everybody says, what is that? Right? What is that? A disability? And believe me, selling people with disabilities might have been the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Because let's be honest, people with disabilities, they're in their own world, right? Like it's a tough sell.
If you have one, you don't want other people to know it.
It's a tough sell, and you got to keep on plugging away, and you got to educate people on why they want to support a person with a disability or a veteran. You got to educate them, and then you got to educate them again, and then you got to hold their hand. And then they get it. And then they go, oh, I get it. Yeah, there you go, right? And remember, you're coming my way because 1 out of 2 people by over 70 years old are disabled. And how many people have family members that are disabled
and what
or veteran related?
They're not going to all go work construction. You know what I mean? You can't do that at that age. The media world, where it's going, the endless limits to it, give somebody a younger age right now in the neuroscience world where I hang out, the relationship between neuroscience and artificial intelligence is palpable. The only thing that artificial intelligence doesn't have is consciousness. We have consciousness.
That's right.
That's what we have.
No.
But
I could keep on talking forever, but I'm going to run into my meeting. But I really thank the opportunity for being on the show today. And if anybody wants to find out more about the channel, you can just talk to Doug or Laurie, but go to our website, www.thedisabilitychannel.ca. Like I said, we have new programs going. So, right, you want to enroll in our program, you want a new opportunity, you want to brand your logo, you want to be attached to a positive platform instead of all the crap that's going on these days in the world. look up the Disability Channel, because we're all about positivity. No negative pot shots, no talking negativity, no screaming and yelling, none of that crap. No.
Hey, I've been to your office in Toronto. I've met the people. This is the real deal, man. You're doing a great job, Jay. You know, keep her going. Right there for you, man. See you later.
Thanks, guys. Have a great show. Thanks, Laurie. Hi,
Hi, Jay.
Laurie. Okay. See you guys. Have a great show. Bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Oh, that was fantastic. Thanks for listening to all that, Laurie.
I know.
I appreciate it. You know, just I wanted to drill down and what an incredible story Jay's got, and you get a chance to see him a little bit more during the week, I guess, on certain shows, or is he just running around behind the scenes now?
No, he participates. You know, he pops in perhaps if he's in. Like a couple of weeks ago, he was at a library with part of the crew. They were doing some kind of media thing, training. And so we brought him into the Today Show while he was right there on the scene with the students, working a gig. So that was great. Also, too, on Friday, you know, and this is public knowledge, our good friend Virginia is going to in for surgery.
Yes.
With her for her breast cancer. Things are looking very good, but I'm going to go to the hospital for the day just to be that girlfriend. And then Jay will step in on Friday with a guest and do the show. So he's back up for me. And, you know, we talk every day because there's something going on with the show. You know, 5 days a week's a big commitment. So it's, you know, it takes the two of us really to manage that.
Well, it's great and it's growing. It's a great thing that's happening, right? I mean, people are attracted to this. The shows that you're doing are timely. Maybe you could talk about the other shows that are happening that have spun out of this, that are being successful, and some of them surprisingly booming success, right? People should tune into those.
Yes, and Doug, I want to publicly thank you too for the opportunity that you presented to me to connect me to the Disability Channel, because it was through you that I made that connection, and I'm really grateful for that. And I appreciate you for doing that. And thank you so very much. It means the world to me.
Thank you, Laurie.
You're welcome. Yeah, well, last week, Ramin, the show with Dr. Ramin Modiri is very popular because you know Ramin, and he's a researcher, and he's like you and me. Show me the facts, show me the evidence. Mm-hmm. And a week or so ago, he did a show, the 14 best places to live on the planet for 2024. Cool. And
cool.
Yeah,
and you can go to your Facebook page or your YouTube channel. Yeah, there you go.
So the top 3 places right now: number 1 was Costa Rica, number 2 Portugal, number 3 Mexico. And this is all based on 12 criteria. You know, political stability, housing, healthcare. And I'm sorry to say, Doug, that neither Canada nor the United States made the list.
Wow. Too many guns, I guess.
Too many guns. It's amazing. Ecuador is right up there. Colombia.
Wow.
France, Italy, Greece.
And we don't know, right? We're sitting here in Canada.
Yeah.
You know, minding our own business, going to the same resorts that we go to, or on the same cruise, then we come back here.
Yeah,
and we have no idea we're going back to a more dangerous place and a less loving place than you could have visited or you could have gone back to.
Right. That's right. So that's a very popular show. Monday, Virginia Clark and I have teamed up, and of course we do empowerment, self-care, self-worth stuff. So we generally conduct some kind of empowerment workshop on Mondays. Wednesday is wellness. So emotional wellness, you know, and I want to include our Dr. Vic friend and get him back on the wellness piece. And because of the variety of content, all of our shows, including the press box, and I love our audience to know this, there's lots of crossovers. So we have guests who could be on 4 or 5 shows because they have those backgrounds. And then Thursday, of course, we feature our veterans, our Indigenous community, our disabled community. And last week, I had a very good friend of mine Hastings Konjamba from Africa, he and his wife Simona man an orphanage, 450 kids.
Wow.
Who do not have any parents. And his big thing is education. For $30, Doug, $30, that provides school supplies, a pencil and a notebook for 4 months for one kid. And $30 a month feeds them a nice high protein, healthy diet. Wow. So so he's building a school right now, brick by brick. I've watched it. So he was on the show last week. And then, of course, Friday is fun day. Well, Friday we had two people, one Michael Wooten and Marie Norris. And Marie Norris came into us in her 18-wheeler.
No way.
She's a singer-songwriter and lives in Nashville, and she drives an 18-wheeler.
She have her guitar behind her and everything?
No, I don't know, man. It was just crazy. So, yeah, the shows are fun. And then, of course, the show that we do together is always fun because we banter back and forth, and there's always a bit of a surprise. So,
wow, yeah. we got so much going on. Like,
I know.
Like, you know, in Ottawa, things are taking off in the mental health space. You know,
so what have you
in
been
the
doing?
Performance space. Well, I'm spending a lot of time in the neuroscience space, right? In the medical space right now, because that whole world is so siloed.
Yeah.
You know, especially in the research world, it's so siloed. And at one time, cancer used to be that way. And then they decided to get rid of the silos. And now more people get better from cancer than ever have gotten better from cancer. And so what the situation is in the neuroscience community is it's still siloed.
Yeah.
And so there's these brilliant things being learned at the University of Montreal, UBC, University of Columbia, and none of them ever talk to each other. And it's about the human brain. So wow. That's a key thing that's going to happen in the next while. And the other realization and the other thing that's been proven for our audience that you might want to write down for your kids is that consciousness is not physical and it's not psychological. It's a different part of the anatomy because it carries an electrical signal that comes in waves to your brain, and it's measured in hertz. It's very measurable. You just put the cables on the side of your head, you know, and you can measure this stuff. And so they've eliminated the possibility of consciousness being physical or psychological. So it's a different part of our anatomy because what it does is it turns up the frequencies and it turns down the frequencies.
Wow.
Right. And so consciousness is becoming this thing that's so critically important to us. I really encourage you for your kids because there's no turning back now. That's the world I live in. And now I'm trying to figure out, and people out there can help me. How do you transfer that knowledge to people? And what are the practical applications of knowing this now? And so that's all a lot of that's going to be developed in Ottawa. The people I'm working with are Ottawa University and actually getting close to the professional sports world because they'll gravitate to this, right?
Yes.
Anything like this, the professional sports world will want to. And so I'm lining things up for the fall to really blow the doors off stuff. And we'll be announcing the launch of a facility actually here in Ottawa that's going to be a part of all that. So it's, you know, going after the central nervous system, the brain, it comes naturally to me. If you're listening and you don't know my background, I suffered a high-level spinal cord injury, C5 spinal cord injury. I had no bladder, no bowels, no arms, no legs. I still have deficits in 3 limbs that you can notice if you push me hard enough, but I got my game back. So, you know, my sporting ability and managing stuff with my hands and my arms and walking and running, I can still do it. So I couldn't do it, but I learned how to do it again. So that's why I'm so obsessed. And if there's anybody else out there that's listening to the show that's obsessed with the central nervous system, the 3 nervous systems we have in our body, and you want to learn how to build your life from those nervous systems outward, which is managing the frequencies that are going to build everything around you. These frequencies will build everything around you. And this isn't a virtual intelligence, right? This is you doing it. The reason that AI will not be able to overtake human beings is because it lacks the piece of anatomy called consciousness.
Correct.
That can never be built into AI. Okay. So
No.
everybody out there is worried AI is taking over. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. You know what? Put me at the card table with AI any day of the week. I'll wear it out. I'll just play really slow till it wears out. You know what I mean? It's not as smart as you. It doesn't have the consciousness component. You're not just relying on your physical ability and your emotional or your psychological ability. Don't rely on those things, just those things. Start relying and leaning on your consciousness. And that consciousness only has 3 priorities: meeting basic needs, clarity of thought, and helping other people. As soon as you start doing that, you turn up the waves. And this is measurable. This presentation was just done in Armenia. I've watched the presentation twice. It's boring as hell, and he had a hard time with the equipment. But can you imagine, this information is here for everybody to see, and he's in Armenia? Why isn't he here in Toronto and Montreal and all the, you know? So I'm all into making it more efficient so that people can learn this stuff so that they can get better. You know what I mean? Sorry to go on such a rant, Laurie, but it's inside me.
You don't
right?
have to apologize. You know, I'm with you 1,000%. I mean, I'm doing some things too. Actually, one of the things I'm doing is, back to basics, because back to basics, these
Yes.
things are what keep us living in a blissful, orderly state. It's all this other stuff that gets us confused and distracted. And, we always say, you either, when it comes to all the crime and everything that's going on, somebody's not exercising their consciousness.
Yes, they're not exercising that piece of their anatomy. Just think about how hard you work on your physical body and how hard you work on your psychological body, your psychological mind. And if you don't exercise your consciousness, if you're not getting on that consciousness bike every day, and this is the first time in the world that this discussion has ever happened.
Wow.
This is the first time in the world. And I've got somebody at my door, so you're going to have to do a song and dance, Laurie, just a sec.
Okay, you bet. Well, I think to expand on that, part of what we do in our business of self-worth, the missing link, we help to raise that level.
I am back.
Okay. Well, I was just filling in for you and saying, you're giving me some things to think about. And one of the things that I know happens for my clients when they get into that space, that they have value, that they can be loving, more forgiving, we are raising their level of consciousness.
Yes.
This is where they get to exercise it.
Yes. And those are the connections that are being made now. And those are the connections that we have to figure out the words. And this is where you come into play, because you know how to use words, you know how to communicate. So how do you stay away from the fear stuff and just focus on the positive stuff? Because this learning is all extremely positive.
Absolutely.
But people are fragile, right?
Absolutely.
And so you got to be, so that's what I'd like you and the people who are listening to this right now, try to figure out how you would explain to the world that consciousness is a piece of anatomy, and it has nothing to do with your physical, and it has nothing to do with your psychological ability and person.
I love it.
Isn't that cool? Like,
very cool.
And then if they say, well, that's not true, how do you know that's true? Well, I can produce the wave graphs and the hertz used to discover the crash and the acceptance of the brain. It's so obvious now, yet we're still practicing certain behaviors. As you know, your stuff will always integrate with everything. It'll always just enhance. It's never going to hurt anything. But all that's happening now is everybody's starting to see the stuff you're talking about on a screen. They're seeing it on a computer screen, and they're seeing the waves go up like this.
Yeah.
Right? Because of consciousness.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, another word that people use a lot, and I think when they're using this word, they actually are meaning to say consciousness, but they don't have the vocabulary. they'll use the word awareness. I'm becoming more aware. Well,
Yes.
that's your consciousness waking up, you see.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
that's
Yes. It's
the
the first
beginning
step.
of, right? That's the first step in getting that piece of anatomy that you're talking about. And I agree with you totally on that. I've
Okay.
known that for a long time. Just to I didn't do the science and I don't have the background, but I knew that it was a separate thing. That's all I knew.
And now it's just in the last, this is just in the last
Wow.
2 years, we've been
Yeah,
able to measure this.
that's
And
awesome.
and just think of the application of frequencies throughout the body and what you can tackle with different frequencies within the body when you start to see this stuff. Like
Oh,
so there, it's going to attract like millions and millions of people when neuroscience opens up around the world. It's
yeah.
gonna it's just gonna attract so
Well,
many people because it's so critical to health and living longer. You know, the people I'm
oh,
hanging out with, Laurie, it's unbelievable. You're the same. The people I'm hanging out with want to live to 120.
well, that's
They don't
because
they don't have it. What's
no, our tissues are designed to live 120 years.
yeah, yeah,
Our bodies were designed to live 120 years.
yeah. And so
Healthy 120 years.
and everybody that I'm hanging around with right now, like spending time with, being in their environment, are people like that. They're not
Good.
thinking about anything but like progress and how many decades they have left to accomplish stuff.
Well,
And
exactly. I
what?
just turned 75, Doug.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to hear this little
Oh, I
side
love
note.
it.
Okay. I'm at the dog pound, dropping my dog off to the kennel for the weekend. And I'm explaining to Gunther, he's such an amazing guy. He's 75, his wife is 75. And they run this dog kennel 24/7. Okay. It's
Wow.
barking, barking. Oh my God, I couldn't stand it. But anyway, I walk in. Of course, I'm all dutied up because we're going into the city for the weekend. And he said, "What are you guys up to this weekend?" I said, "Well, missed my birthday because my husband had the shingles," which, by the way, Ron came through the shingles, no pain, no itch, nothing, just the scarring. So he said, "Oh, you had a birthday?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, do you mind me asking you how old you are?" Now they're not really well. And I said, "Well, I said, our year, we were born the same year. We've already had this discussion, Gunther.
Mm,
1949.
mm.
He goes, "What? You're 75? Oh my God, I thought you were in your 30s. So I get into the truck and I said to Ron, "We're getting a divorce. I'm going to marry Gunther because he just told me I look like I'm in my 30s. I'm going to marry this guy."
Oh, that's a great story. You know, on the we were talking about healing a little bit there,
Yeah.
and on the healing front, my wife and I, Patty and I, went to a healing retreat south of Montreal in Sutton, Quebec, for 4 days, and
Nice.
it was a I went for the first time to a tarot reading over 4 days, where there was 10 people and there was 8 people plus the reader, the tarot master that was sitting beside you, and all the people were allowed to participate and ask questions and get you. I have to say it was the most incredible experience. If anybody's interested in going on a journey like this through tarot, all the food was included and it was amazing. It was all vegetarian. There was no meat for 4 days, and it was cooked beautiful. You thought you were eating meat. And then over the course of the day, you do 2 or 3 readings with one
Neat.
and anyways, just it was an
Yeah.
incredible experience. I recommend people get away with maybe some people that they don't know and do something like that, because these were people we didn't know, right? And
Right.
usually we want to huddle together with people we know,
Yeah.
right? And
Well,
they're predictable.
that's like the herd mentality, right? Like horses. We are herders, by the way, but yeah.
Yeah.
So that's very nice. That was great for you and Patty to do that together.
Well, just looking at that whole industry now, I mean, you must see it yourself. I mean, you're traveling hours and hours out in Alberta and servicing a lot of people out there. I want people to know that you're available for them, not just on the show,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, but in person too, like how do people reach you, and why? Where do they start? You know, because that's always the hardest part, right? Where do you start when you reach out if you
Yeah,
need help?
you just have a phone call. That's what I like to do
Okay.
is have a phone call just to, getting to know you, right? Getting to know you. And because of the experiences and my years, decades really, it doesn't take me very long to figure things out and to be able to provide some solutions to that. So thank you for asking about that. We're really busy right now. I've just had probably the busiest summer I've had since long before COVID.
Okay. Okay.
Because
That
you know
makes
what it's
sense.
like. You know what
Hmm.
it's like. Summertime, people are on holidays, they're going places, they're traveling. But here's what I know, Doug. Crises doesn't take a vacation.
Hmm. Well, you've taught me that. Like some people are going to go through 10 workshops, some people are going to go through 40 workshops, some people are going to go through 100 workshops. Well, I've gone halfway. I think I'm one and a half workshops, but it was such a hammer that hit me on the head, right? Not psychologically hit me on the head, made me more conscious. And,
Oh,
you
raised your
know,
level of consciousness, did it?
yeah, that's how you get to it. You hit me
There
over
you
the head with a
go.
hammer.
Well, actually, Doug, you did 10 hours here.
Oh, I know. I did
Yeah.
it, but I'm saying some people do 40, 100.
Oh,
It's not about the length of time. It's about what brings you that
where you're at.
that level, right? That level, like getting the sailboat righted and getting like some
Yeah.
calm water, rather
Yeah.
than being leaning over the side all the time. Let's just
Well,
get us back to center.
right. And I had a client, this was years ago. We have a workshop series, which we're going to do a men's group in the fall, by the way.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Once a week we meet. And it was week 38 out of 40. Okay. She was a good client, showed up all the time, did her work, did her homework. And on workshop number 38, she said, I got it. So you're
Just in
right.
time.
Some people it's a phone call. Some people it's a year. It doesn't matter. It's just where you are.
And the important thing is that the people that reach out to us
Hmm.
are showing that they have a will.
That's
and
right.
and that's the only thing, right? I mean, that's the single only thing that you need to engage is to have will to get better, right?
That's
Will
right.
to up the bar on your performance. and
Yep.
and if you engage in one conversation and we learn from you, then we're going to take your course.
That's right. That's right. So I always say, Doug, there's two things I need in order and I can't help anybody and I don't teach anybody anything. I remind people of what they already know and I show them how to become their own best therapist.
To unwind.
Unwind.
I met a guy on the weekend up in Quebec at a cottage, and he had broken his neck,
Oh,
and I said to him, like, and he was stiff like this, and he was
oh yeah.
about the same age as me, and he had fallen off this cliff like 7 months ago or 8 months ago,
Oh,
and I said you should try what I tried, because I don't demonstrate any physical disabilities, and so I came home and I immediately referred him to the same person that helped me, and I know that he'll get the same results that I got.
yeah.
And if you find something like that, if you're listening to the show and you found something like that works like that, let me know.
Right.
Like, and we'd be happy to let you know how simple it is.
Exactly. Well, in order to get well, you have to be willing, but you also have to be ready to do the work. You see, some
Yes.
people are willing, but they're not ready to do the work. Or they're ready, they need it, but they're not willing
Yes.
to do the work. So I always tell people, are you ready? Are you willing? You have to have both going on at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ready and
Willing.
willing.
And willing. See, so you
You
could be
gotta,
willing, but you may not be ready to do the
you,
work.
yeah, you gotta put the time in. Seth Godin
Yeah.
says that, right?
Yeah.
You gotta do the work.
Got to do the work.
And
Now
you
you
try to
might,
minimize the amount of work you got to do to get the biggest results, but it doesn't
Oh,
eliminate, you can't eliminate the work completely. That's the thing about it, right?
yeah.
I mean,
And
hacks, I'm
people,
all into
yeah,
hacks.
and then people will say, "Oh, I don't know, it's hard. Changes are hard to make, and you can't get." And I said, "Listen, what we do is a walk in the park compared to where you've been and what you've been through."
Or what you will have if you don't change,
Right.
right? And show them that. And we're
It'll even get
finding,
worse.
like, I'm finding over the last 10 years, Laurie, that I've been actively helping individuals like business people and athletes. Um, some of them have become rock stars, really. They've made it all the way. They've recovered from
Mhm,
serious injuries, or they become leaders, in their 40s of corporations, doing in the
mhm.
billions of dollars in revenue. And it didn't come from what they learned after they left me. They learned a lot of good stuff, but it was what they learned before they left me
Right.
that they were able to use over and over and over again, and then learn all the ancillary stuff that can be done by somebody else. And so this happens. So if you're a young person, trying to figure out what to do with your university degree, and you want to start a small business or something like that, like let's have a just have a conversation.
Yeah.
And I've mapped all this stuff over the years, like put it into systems and easy ways to do it, just like you have. So if it's self-worth, you're going to see Laurie Davis, and it usually is self-worth. And then once you see that, once you become conscious, and we've talked a lot about consciousness today, then you can come and see Doug Smith, right?
Right.
And
Right.
then we'll build up the consciousness, so it's like put a suit of armor around your consciousness, because it's just floating out there in the air, and you're spewing it on everybody that you meet. By the way, you're spewing
Yes.
your consciousness on them, but you can't, and it will make them sick, but it takes a little bit of time for them to be around you, but it will make them sick. If you're doing that to them. Isn't it fit really well to tell the story? I'm
Yeah.
gonna be
Absolutely.
able to make a nice presentation with little cartoons and
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
like
We could do that.
consciousness, physical,
We could
emotional.
do that. Yeah, for sure. Well, I took on a new client yesterday. He's 20. And
Oh
I'm
wow.
so thrilled and excited to have him on board because another family member, his uncle, took those first 10 workshops.
Hmm,
And then he said, and I've met this young man in person. He's amazing.
hmm.
And yeah, so that was exciting yesterday to start with. I love working with young people.
Well, it's incredible what's happening in the in this space around the mind, and I usually share this with people because then they can look it up. But I'd like to point people towards it. It's not just me. This is Georg Northoff's first work, which is
Yes, I love that.
unlocking the brain. But if you just Google Georg Northoff, and you can put it up, it's Georg without the e on the end,
Mhm.
Northoff. And if you just Google him, he'll come up right away, and you can see his new book. And I
Can you spell
really,
that for me? Can you spell his name again?
Georg space Northoff, Northoff.
Okay, I've excluded capitals here, but we'll get her up.
Yeah.
There we go.
And this man's work will change your life. In fact, we're going to be bringing him on the show. We just have
Awesome.
to. Yeah, he's already accepted the invitation,
Great.
and it's just a matter of timing. As we get into I think it's going to happen as we get into the fall.
Hmm.
So because he's got a busy summer, I think he's off to Geneva or something. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy what his schedule is. So
Right.
we'll have him on the show, and we'll get it from the horse's mouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I encourage people to bring their questions. I'd really like to promote this and talk about this a lot.
Hmm.
And next week we'll talk about it again too. But get people involved. Like I'd like to get people involved with asking questions. If you could ask the sort of the one of the top ranked neuroscientists and psychiatrists, right? 2 degrees, 2 PhDs, uh,
Hmm.
known by his peers as one of the most open, leading, clean guys you'd ever want to meet. what questions would you ask him? Because be careful though. I encourage you to be careful with the questions you ask, because you just might get an answer, right? And the answer that you get, you might not like.
There
And
we
then
go. That's another reason why people don't ask questions. They don't want to hear the answer that maybe I can handle this.
yeah, and then this fall, as we get into the hockey season, I've had
Yeah,
conversations with a bunch of guys this summer,
good.
and
Yeah.
gals too, and gals,
Yes.
which is amazing. And they, I don't know, gals just move so much faster than guys. I have two daughters, right? Two sisters. They just
Oh
move
yeah.
quick. The guys,
Mhm. But I have the opposite effect in my work. It's the guys who get through the workshops, lickety split. The
okay,
girls are more the rabbit trails and all around and the drama. But my guys, let's get her. I've got a lot of male clients right now. Let's just get her done. And
yeah,
they want to show up and they do the work. And you were like that too, Doug, and it was like, okay, girls, you know, one client I know it's going to take more than 10 workshops to get her through the material because of all the rabbit trails and the drama and you know.
yeah. So you see pattern. You do see patterns,
Oh
huh?
yeah. Oh yeah. Were you aware though, there was a they can scientifically measure this too, that uh, now we'd be looking back a few years, so this new science that you're talking about will maybe change that, but they could actually measure the energy field around our heart versus the energy field around our brain. And the energy field around our heart at the time was 5,000% more than the energy field around our brain.
Yes, so those measurements are there, and they work with those measurements in association with
Mhm.
what they're digging into now.
Yeah.
It's just getting more and more refined.
Yeah.
And
So just,
if you want to see technology at its finest, here's what you do. Anybody that's listening can do this. Okay, this is what you do. If you want to see the most advanced technology and what it can do to your brain, all you got to do is go to an Apple store. Okay, there's Apple stores everywhere. Ask to take a tour of Apple Vision and fasten your seatbelt, like, because I didn't expect what I was going to see. I didn't know that my brain would be swept off into the forest, and everything around me was like I was in the forest with my desktop floating in the air right here in front of me. And I was doing this, and it was so real. And then
yeah.
they put you on the edge of a cliff, and it's you, like you, like they're like you're on the edge of a cliff and they asked before you do it. I had to grab the table a couple of times, like in the store, could be just because it was
Real.
so real. And they don't allow anybody that's under age 13 to even try it. So go, and if you want to see again, all the listeners that are listening and yourself, go put it on, take the tour, get ready, have a puke bag, you know what I mean? And and you'll see that consciousness, physical,
Yeah.
psychological whole component come to life inside of you. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe
Well, our hour,
Apple should sponsor us. What do you
I
think?
think so. Yeah,
Tell
maybe.
everybody about that. How
Yeah,
do they do that?
right. Yeah, exactly. So our time is almost up, Doug. Has this not been an amazing hour like it is every week? Oh my gosh.
Wow, Jay had so much good information, and
Mhm.
you can just tell how passionate he is about
Oh, yes.
that attracted, I think, both of us.
Yes,
He
absolutely.
he just digs and digs, and that's one guy that doesn't suffer from follow-up failure. I'll tell you that right
No,
now. Yeah.
no, that's right. That's right.
Well, thank you for this, and we'll look forward to our future guests in the brain
Yes.
space, in the neurospace, and
Yeah.
see if we can get everybody moving in the upward trajectory, shall we? Okay.
Absolutely. Have a
It's always
great
a
week,
pleasure.
Doug.
Thank you,
Okay,
Laurie.
same
Have a
here.
great one. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.